scary clown in the woods. I've been debating on talking about this. We lived in a small neighborhood. All of the surrounding streets dead end into a half-circle park. Behind the park are some woods and a railroad track. When we were younger, we all played in the woods. We never ventured too far back. This was our play area for years. Never had an issue or scare. Anyhow, one day my brother Jimmy, my best friend Sarah, and my brother's best friend Ian were all building a dam in the middle of the small creek that ran through the park in the woods. The boys decided they were going to head back to Ian's house for some snacks. Sarah and I said we would stay and finish our camp area. As we were moving rocks around, a very odd feeling came over me, like that feeling of being watched. Sarah and I load up some big rocks and head back to the creek and put them down at the dam. I get that feeling again, and as I stand up, I see something straight in front of me, about 30 feet away. I can't make out what it is because it's behind a bush, but I do see something with a red and blue pattern. I know that's nothing the boys had on, so I'm focusing trying to figure out what it is. As I'm scanning up the bush, I start to realize it's some clown. I shit you not, my heart started pounding immediately. The clown's eyes and my eyes lock. He's wearing a red and blue hat with a red and blue jumpsuit. I grab Sarah's shirt and immediately pull her upright, and she notices the man right away. He's smiling with a face full of makeup and what appears to be a huge knife in his hand. We both say nothing and just start running as fast as our legs can take us. He starts following us. We can hear twigs snapping and ground crunching, but we're still booking it. We run through the front of the woods, through the side of the park, and up the dead-end street. Ian and Jimmy are 2 houses up from the end and see us running, and they start screaming, "What is going on?" While running past, all we yell back is, "A clown," and they start laughing. We're still running for our lives and finally make it to the middle of the street where Sarah's dad is now running out the front door because he hears us screaming. We explain to her dad what we saw, and he says he doesn't believe us, tells us to stop, and that all of this is ridiculous. We try to catch our breath. We tell her dad again that we saw a clown and he was holding a knife. Jimmy and Ian made their way to us, still laughing, and her dad asked if they played a prank on us. At this moment, an old yellow car comes from the dead end of the park and pulls up right next to us. Sure enough, plain as day, it's the fucking clown. No hat this time, but he still had the knife as he was telling us to come here. Sarah's dad starts shoving us all toward the house, and he himself is scared and running now. The car then drives off down the street. We get inside and he calls the police. We gave statements and police patrolled the area for a few weeks. We were never allowed back in the park again, and a few months after that, the city started to clear out the woods, cut down a bunch of trees, and made a walking area that you could see through all the way to the train tracks. My friend and I used to talk about this a lot until her passing. No one else would believe us had they not seen it as well. It was just so terrifying. We were lucky to be alive after that. Had it just been one of us left in the woods, I don't think there would have been a group of 4 anymore. Sarah's dad stopped drinking that day, and we all have a fear of clowns now. The time that I silly stringed a creepy clown. I've never had any experiences that really freaked me out, except this one. I was around 11 years old and was with my sister and her friends. They were all around 16 and were taking me trick-or-treating. So, we were a group of girls going door to door to get candy and playing with silly string. I kept getting this weird feeling, like I was looking behind me constantly and I had no clue why. After we visited a few houses, I turned around quickly and there was a guy dressed up as a clown about 2 yards behind us. I wasn't really scared because I like clowns and people were all out trick-or-treating. But he followed us for another hour, never getting candy and waiting for us at each house we stopped at. It was really bothering me. I was stressing and told my sister about the clown. She decided that we should try to go a completely different route and see if he still follows us. So we all crossed the street, and he followed. My sister absolutely hates clowns and was freaked out, so she called our dad to pick us up. We continued walking around for about 30 minutes, until our dad called us back, letting us know where he was parked. We all started walking fast towards the direction of my dad's car, but that's when the clown ran in front of us and tried to corner us. I think he knew we were trying to leave. My sister and her friends were all freaking out, and me, being a naive and outspoken kid, I yelled at the clown to leave us alone. I remember that he tilted his head to the side when I said that, kind of like a confused dog. I grabbed my sister's silly string and told the clown that if he didn't leave us alone, I'd ruin his costume with the silly string. Yeah, as if he would be afraid of that. The clown didn't back off, so I shot the silly string at him and into his eyes. While I did this, my sister called our dad again, telling him to hurry and come to us. The clown struggled to get the silly string out, but we were already running. My dad came around the corner and we all rushed inside the car. The clown caught up with us, trying to open the car door, but it was locked. As my dad hit the gas, the clown slammed his hand on the back window. I remember watching him out the car, trying to chase but falling behind. I never figured out what was up with that, but there were other reports of a clown with the same description chasing kids in the area. Clown warning. And this story is bizarre as hell. I still remember it clearly as daylight. It was probably 2005 in my hometown of bumfuck nowhere, Maine. I was 4 years old, with my father walking around the festival. It's a small festival held every year at the local high school with a bounce house, baked goods, face painting, fire safety teachings, and one lone paramedic in case anything were to transpire. There are also a couple of food vendors here and there. Now, this specific year, they had a random clown doing balloon animals for all the kids, and I asked my father if he would get me one. He looked over at the clown, smiling, then down at me. "Why don't you wait here for a moment? Let me grab us some water and we can go together," he said, giving me a happy medium. I smiled at him, but I didn't listen. I marched my little legs over to the tall man, probably 5'11", scrawny, had overalls with paint splatter, a red styrofoam nose, of course, white base, and a big red smile with blue grease paint smudged haphazardly around his eyes. He was making a giraffe for a little boy before me, and I was watching him make it, just kind of mesmerized. When he was done, I stepped forward very bashfully and stuttered out a weak, "Excuse me, sir." His head whipped over at me and his eyes stared almost through my soul. I couldn't see irises, just big black pupils. I was about to ask him for a sword or something when he instantly reached down, grabbed my wrist, yanked it up, and sank his teeth into my forearm. I was shrieking as soon as it all happened. The guy let go of me and darted off down the back exits of the high school. I had a giant bite mark outlining my arm. My father ran to my side immediately. He looked up and saw the guy taking off down the road. He was mad, but just picked me up and ran me over to the paramedics' tent. There were cops called with people surrounding us at the tent trying to see my arm. In a small town like that, everyone has to be involved. All horrified, everyone who saw had to give a statement to the cops, including me and my father. After all these years, my father told me the event coordinators came up to him after my mom picked me up and said they never hired a clown for entertainment, nor did the cops ever find the guy. They told my dad it was probably some drugged up junkie having a bad trip and took it out on me. My hometown has one of the worst drug epidemics in the state, so it wouldn't surprise me.